Not all animated films are born equal. For every Coco, there's a missing link. For every Toy Story, there's a story about a rooster who acts like Elvis that no one wants to see. Join us for a look at some of the biggest animated flops in animated history.
Come on, I'll show you some more stuff.
Number 1. Is making a joke about the film Missing Link missing the link between audiences and theaters too easy? Maybe, but we'll make it anyway. Despite opening on the big pre-Easter weekend release date, Missing Link grossed just $25 million worldwide. Given its $102 million budget, this would be the biggest flop of 2019 and one of the biggest animated flops of all time. Especially surprising when the film stars box office comedy heavyweight Zach Galifianakis.
Wait, is that sarcasm?
No.
What about that?
No.
Number 2. Just because a movie is great doesn't mean it makes money. If you were looking over just its presence in the current pop culture landscape, it's easy to assume the Iron Giant was always beloved. However, in its initial 1999 theatrical box office run, the Iron Giant was a shockingly major box office flop. The president of Warner Brothers attributed the film's failure to the inherent difficulty in releasing smarter kid-skewing movies. Excuses, excuses. Number 3. The story behind Foodfight is more fascinating than many acclaimed animated movies. Meant to be the Toy Story of supermarket products, Foodfight was plagued with constant delays and problems. Eventually, the production petered out and was reclaimed by its investors, who chose to rush a version of the project out to try and reclaim some money from the very troubled production. Once meant for a spectacular 2005 theatrical release, Foodfight finally debuted on the big screen in a few international markets in 2012. In these meager runs, Foodfight grossed only $73,000 on a $45 million budget. You heard that right. You don't need to be a box office expert to figure out what went wrong here. Minimal marketing and animation that became a punching bag on the internet ensured audiences wouldn't be catching this film anytime soon. Number 4. So recent we just had to bring it up. Disney's Strange World was a catastrophic misfire on the studio's part. Confusing marketing, an art direction that would only be recognizable for people older than 70, and an unclear premise and story leading to mixed reviews are factors that led to Strange World's addition to recent misfires for Pixar and Disney. Number 5. Titan AE grossed just $36 million worldwide on a $75 million budget, a massive money loser for its financiers. The box office sum of Titan AE looked especially embarrassing given how it made so much less than Disney animation titles from the same year, like Dinosaur and The Emperor's New Groove. However, in the context of early 2000s animated cinema, it becomes clear that Titan AE was part of a broader trend of American audiences ignoring action-oriented cartoons. Number 6. Osmosis Jones aimed to provide an inside look at the secret lies for germs that Toy Story delivered for toys. Whereas people had always wondered what playthings might do when their back is turned, people haven't always been contemplating the daily lives of their white blood cells. Family audiences continued to ignore the project, and Osmosis Jones ended its worldwide box office run earning just $13 million on a $70 million budget. Number 7. To nowhere near infinity and then no further should be Buzz's new catchphrase. The question, what if there was a movie about the toy who thinks he's cool, was answered with another big misfire for Pixar and Disney. What also didn't help was the $300 million price tag on the endeavor, with excessive marketing leading to a not so enormous audience turnout. While Lightyear raked in $226 million, Deadline reports that the film still lost approximately $106 million, probably because their marketing went so far as to have Buzz's face show up on vegan bacon. Why? Number 8. Don Bluth is an admirable name in animation that tried to provide an alternative against the giant machine that is Disney. Bluth found success with efforts like An American Tail and All Dogs Go to Heaven, but A Troll in Central Park grossed a meager $71,000 in North America when it came out in 1994, and it's the least commercially and critically successful of Bluth's efforts. Number 9. The Pebble and the Penguin is another Don Bluth effort that shoots for the moon but sees such a dangerous life that it actually bankrupts Bluth's production company. The Pebble and the Penguin tells the story of Hubie, a shy penguin who's in love. There's a decent love story in the film and a cool voice cast that features Martin Short, Jim Belushi, and Tim Curry, but it brought in under $4 million from the box office on a budget of $28 million. Number 10. Doogal is a fascinating story because it's actually based on an existing series from Europe called The Magic Roundabout. What's baffling here is that rather than simply re-release the original 2005 film, the Weinstein Company decides to redub the movie with American actors and rewrite the script so it's filled with pop culture and fart jokes. A decent movie is destroyed for no reason, and Doogal has an 8% on Rotten Tomatoes. Number 11. Perhaps one of the more ambitious Don Bluth efforts on here, Rock-a-Doodle carries a little more charm than Troll in Central Park or Penguin in the Pebble, but it's far from a success. Rock-a-Doodle tells an ambitious story where a barnyard rooster leaves his home to become an Elvis-like rock star, but in doing so, the well-being of the son gets put in jeopardy. On a budget of $18 million, Rock-a-Doodle took a loss with a box office total of $11 million, which would eventually lead to Bluth's studio needing to liquidate its assets. Number 12. The 2009 computer-animated take on the popular Astro Boy anime is a particularly harsh blow. The movie covers Astro Boy's origin story, and critics were mostly unimpressed. The biggest blow is that the $65 million film barely recoups half of its budget with its worldwide box office total of $40 million. It's a strong example of why trusting in the medium's original style is always a good idea. Number 13. This 2001 film adaptation of the famous video game crashed and burned at the box office, earning just $85 million worldwide on a massive $137 million budget. Number 14. Treasure Planet was an ambitious effort on Disney's part as it tries to take the classic story of Treasure Island. It's viewed as one of the most expensive box office failures of all time and a huge blow that humbled Disney in many ways. The film's budget was a massive $140 million, but it only made $38 million domestically. An international audience brought the film's overall gross to $110 million, but that's still a loss, especially at home. Number 15. The Black Cauldron lives in infamy as it was referred to as the film that almost destroyed Disney. The film digs into fantasy elements from the Middle Ages with knights, sorcerers, and princesses aplenty. This is all territory that Disney understands well, but its $44 million budget, making it the most expensive movie of the time in 1985, only made back $21 million. The movie crippled Disney, and it wasn't even released on home video until over a decade after it had come out in theaters. Number 16. The Road to El Dorado is an interesting effort from DreamWorks, and it's lost in this place of arrested development where it's not quite sure if it wants to be for kids or for adults. Creative disputes and delays within production continued to compromise the picture, and the film lost nearly $20 million for DreamWorks off its $95 million budget. Those were some of the most famously unfamous films that flopped at the box office. Any famous flops you love that we didn't mention? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed, like and subscribe for more animated content. And thanks for watching The Things Animated.